Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all. Wherever you may be while you're watching this, I hope you are well and staying safe. My name is Niniola Williams, and I'm the Managing Director of Dr. Ameo Stella Adadevo Health Trust, or DRASA, as we call ourselves for short. Over the last 6 years, my experiences leading DRASA, which is a public health organization based here in Nigeria, has been very interesting, very rewarding, very challenging, but it's been a very impactful journey. And it hasn't always been easy, it hasn't always been smooth sailing, but alongside our partners and supporters, we've done so much. And I'm proud of where we've reached. I'm super excited for the start of another year and looking forward to what 2022 has in store for all of us. Um, I'm sure we can all relate to the fact that the last few years have been full of change and highly unpredictable. Many sectors and organizations have suffered and struggled, but at the same time, many others have thrived in the midst of the uncertainty, the difficulty, and the loss. So, as we look towards 2022, I want to share 4 tips that I think can help you as you plan for success, both at an individual level but also at an organizational level. So, if we're planning for 2022, the first thing we have to do is actually pause and reflect. So, take a moment or a day, as the case may be, or several days, and before you start planning for 2022, it's so important to take stock of where you are today. What were your achievements in 2021? What were your losses? What can you improve on? What opportunities did you miss out on? And what opportunities are still available to you? What were the highlights of 2021? Celebrate them definitely, but also take time to reflect and really assess your current state as an individual and as an organization. You cannot rush into 2022 without doing this first. It's so important because what you get from your reflection will guide you as you're planning for 2022. So, this leads me to my next tip, which is make a plan. So, you've reflected, the next step is actually make a plan. And if nothing else, the last 2 years, we've all learned how to become resilient in some shape or form. We've really had no choice. To have made it this far, we are resilient. And so, as we look into 2022, set your plans, set your goals, but also make room for contingencies. Be ready to be flexible. You may have to adjust or bend or accommodate new things as you go along, and be prepared to do that. But also know and identify the things that are non-negotiable, the goals that have to happen no matter what. And alongside that, be willing to learn about new ways of doing things and be open to doing things differently, because you may have to step out of your comfort zone at some point, and that's okay. I mean, for example, how many people knew how to host conferences and large events strictly online before 2020? It was not a very common thing, but now event planning companies have entire divisions and departments and teams that are dedicated to just digital events. They've had to pivot, as many of us have had to. And so now organizations are doing even hybrid programs where you have in person as well as online programs for your stakeholders. Or some organizations are allowing a combination of remote and in office work for team members. And so, as much as possible, stay in tune with the way things are going in your field, in your sector, and also in the world as a whole. Be prepared to adjust and accommodate for changes that could come up, but also ensure that at every moment you are, as an organization, filling a gap, meeting a need, and providing a key service, no matter what the situation is. I know that sounds a bit difficult. How do you plan and set goals and then also still be flexible enough to adjust when needed? But despite that kind of level of uncertainty, to avoid getting overwhelmed by it, one thing you can do is keep your long-term goals and your long-term vision, but also set short-term goals. So what are the low-hanging fruit or less complicated or easier goals that you can set and even possibly knock out in the first quarter of the year? We all need to feel like we're moving and progressing and having some kind of momentum. So ensure that you build in those smaller actions and tasks into your overall plan for the year, because starting the year with that level of momentum help set you up for success for the rest of the year. After you plan, the next tip I'm going to give is to set up an accountability system. It's great to have a plan, but what is going to help you stick to that plan? It's very important. Having an accountability system is key. Now, what that exactly looks like would vary, right? It could be very formal. Maybe you have your 2022 strategy already set and you've presented it to your board and to your team and your colleagues and your stakeholders. Great, that's one level of accountability. But always make sure that you do your best to stick to what you've said. Trust is a huge factor when you're leading an organization or driving any change. So ensure that you're being accountable to what you have said you would do. And on a personal level, one of the great ways of doing that is to build a network of people. It could be friends, loved ones, it could be colleagues and peers, people within your sector, but ensure that you have people who know your goals and are going to check you on them. Now, it's not enough to just say, this is my accountability partner. You have to actually schedule it into your system. So set up meetings with your accountability partners, check in, share updates, tell them what your challenges are. Make it very practical so that you can succeed. The fourth and final tip that I'm going to share, I'm a public health professional, so I have to say this: stay happy and stay healthy. You cannot thrive, you cannot lead people, drive change, achieve goals, or make any progress at all if your physical and mental health is not intact. So I know it may sound cliche, but health actually is wealth. And I think the COVID-19 pandemic continues to prove that to us. We know COVID is not going anywhere, and while yes, we have learned to live with it and maintain our safety, we shouldn't forget general wellness and health. Make sure you take breaks, prioritize your rest, engage in activities that you enjoy, spend time with your loved ones. Ensure that you are healthy enough to pursue your goals and achieve the success that you actually desire. And this applies not just to you as a leader, but also to your team, to your stakeholders, to your beneficiaries. Look out for those around you. Build into your organization the practice of being healthy and prioritizing rest. Yes, work hard, but ensure that you're also encouraging people around you to be healthy, because we cannot achieve anything if we're not together and we're not all healthy. So I think, many of us have lost loved ones in the last few years, and we've been reminded of just how short our time here is. So enjoy every day. It's a blessing to be alive and be healthy enough to be planning for 2022. It's a privilege. And so with that said, I wish you well. Cheers to a successful, productive, and healthy 2022 for us all.